Hello there, it's Friday, which means it's time once again for the best movie podcast ever. The only movie podcast to offer objective and hyperbole-free discussion of every movie in the known universe. I am your host, Konrad. Wait, the podcaster with no name, Konrad. That's my full name. And with me as always, he's one of Miskatonic Hospital's most promising young doctors. It's Anthony James.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night. What a ride. What a ride.
We're on we've done this is episode 41 of the best movie podcast ever, and I still cannot be relied upon to get that intro right. It's still a coin toss, really.
We'll get there.
As to whether it's going to work.
Yeah, we'll get there. To be honest with you, Conrad, I enjoy it. The pits and falls of your intro, one of my highlights of my week.
More falls than wait, what's the opposite? Peaks. More troughs than peaks, yeah. but gosh, are the peaks soaring when we hit them. We've got some exciting things to talk about this week. The internet has been abuzz with conversation about the casting of the new Mario movie, so we're definitely going to talk about that. Back to the Feature is entering horror territory, and we're carrying on the Stuart Gordon train with the Re-Animator. So I say, let's talk about some gosh darn movies.
Let's do it.
Movies. Anthony, are you ready to wave your hands from side to side? Come on, it's time to go do the Mario. I don't even know if you watched that show.
No, I didn't. But I will say, when you mentioned Mario in the intro, I didn't know you were going to mention that. I really wish when you said, it's Anthony James, I really wish I said, it's a me. I really wish I did.
Yeah. Hey, paisanos! That was my Captain Lou Albano impersonation. It's not going to get better than that from here, folks. The Mario casting has been announced. Yeah. It came via a was it Moses who came down from Mount Sinai with the Ten Commandments? I think that's probably Moses, right?
It was Moses. One of the Mos.
I don't know my Bible stories, but like a preacher, a messenger from God coming down from up on high, someone brought us the casting news for the new Super Mario Brothers movie, and it looks fucking awful. So Anthony, have you seen what the casting is for this?
Okay, so you need to clarify it for me, because I have seen some of the casting, but then I also watched the video by Video Game Donkey, and he made up some of the castings. I don't think Whoopi Goldberg's not Yoshi, is she?
No. No, Whoopi Goldberg, as far as I know, is not in this movie. If she is, that's unconfirmed. That would be great. That would be better than... Okay, so I'll go through it just so we're on the... Yeah. We're operating on the same...
I have a lot in my mind. I have a lot in my mind, which is... I know Chris Pratt's in it, but I don't know anything else.
Yeah. So Chris Pratt, notorious non-Italian, is playing Mario, excuse me. I pronounce it incorrectly and have done since I was a child. It's like Mario. When I say Ryu instead of Ryu. I know it's wrong, but... It's just the way I was raised, folks. Charlie Kennedy is playing Luigi.
Who's he? Oh, Charlie Kelly. Yeah.
Charlie Kelly, not Kennedy. Charles Kennedy was a former Lib Dem politician.
Kennedy.
Yeah, Charlie Kelly, sorry, is Luigi. Seth Rogen is playing Donkey Kong. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele, and he's been in loads of stuff. He's in Fargo. He's in a bunch of good movies. And Jack Black is Bowser, which I don't see, to be honest. Possibly the most surprising one to me, given we had a few years ago, we had the year of Florence Pugh, where she was in everything and kind of arrived as a megastar on people's screens. One might make the argument that 2020 was very much the year of Anya Taylor-Joy between The Queen's Gambit and a bunch of stuff.
Emma.
Emma, yeah, exactly. A bunch of films that she was in. She's going to be Princess Peach. I do not know how they wrangled that casting, because she simply must have better things to do with her time.
She's the only one that makes sense so far, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I can at least see that. I'm kind of done with Chris Pratt, to be honest. I think he had his time with me, and he's now. I'd like him to just go away. Charlie Kelly, I'm never gonna. I love it's like we both love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm never gonna dislike Charlie Kelly being cast in anything, but maybe you feel differently about this, but I've never really seen him in a film where I've been like, that's a fair representation of what I know Charlie Kelly can do from a comedic stance.
Yeah, I think the best thing I've seen him in is probably Horrible Bosses, which again still isn't great, but it's probably the best thing he's been in that is a film. Conrad, I think we're focused on the wrong thing here. We can go through each of these castings and they'll all sound shit no matter what, because who's going... This is what I said to you about the Knuckles thing, right? who's going to a film, an animated film, to see Chris Pratt? Like, even the film Onward, he was in that. Not one person went to see Onward or watched Onward on Disney Plus because Chris Pratt was in it. The fact of the matter is, more people would be excited for this if they just used the voice actors from the game.
Yeah, I think that is the odd thing, because people are going to go kids are going to go and see this regardless, because it's a Mario movie, you know, everyone's excited about Mario, and you're absolutely right. Like, it just feels like throwing money away. Like, no one gives a shit that Chris Pratt's going to do this, and he's probably not going to do a good job of it. I was always a Sonic kid growing up. I wish nothing but ill fortune to the Mario franchise, because that's just, you know, that's the way my DNA is written. I bleed blue, but
I bleed red. I do bleed red. I do bleed red. So I am a Mario guy. I will say to you, Konrad, before we swiftly move off this, because there's not much we can say other than it's bullshit. I'm happy Whoopi Goldberg's not in it. I will say that. But but
poor Whoopi.
I mean, that would have been fun. That would have been funny. It would have been akin to George Clooney playing the dog in the South Park movie.
Yeah, but it would have been a career resurgence for Whoopi Goldberg, because to be honest, I haven't seen her in much recently.
She's on like The View, which is America's version of Loose Women.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah. So so basically, this is my point here. If Chris Pratt does an Italian-American voice, right, is that technically like a cultural appropriation type thing? Like, what accents are okay to do?
Well, Charles Martinet, like the guy who does the voice of Mario on a day-to-day, I don't believe he has any Italian. I think he does Luigi and Wario and Waluigi as well. I don't believe he's Italian at all. So I don't... As long as it's, you know, done harmlessly and it's all in good fun and in the realm of the kind of stuff that Mario, done with the mannerisms that we expect of Mario, I don't have a problem with it. If he turns out and he starts talking like fucking Tony Soprano, then we got a problem. Asking for gabagool and calling people bozos. Like, that's when we got ourselves a problem, I think.
Okay, the reason I asked Konrad, just for a very quick little segue, 30-second segue here, is because I've always wanted to know, guys, in the comments, let us know if you know the answer to this. Why is white people, not even white people, just people not from the Caribbean, singing reggae in a Caribbean accent not cultural appropriation?
I mean, if you're asking me, that is like Sting can get fucked. I've never enjoyed that.
Yeah, like I do not understand. Like when a white guy's like, yeah, no, why is that not racist? I don't get that.
I think, thankfully, I feel like the music industry has like quietly tried to sweep white guys doing that under the carpet. And they're just like, you know what, Sting was into it in the 80s. It's a long time ago. We can all forget about that. But I haven't forgotten. Yeah. Every time I listen to a Police song, I'm like, this is the worst. This is the absolute worst.
Chet Hanks bringing it back, though. We'll not talk about him.
Oh, God. Moving swiftly on from that. We haven't really got any other movie news this week. No Time to Die's out this week. Do you care about that at all? You think you're going to go see it?
I probably will go see that, actually. I missed a few films that I want to see. Shang-Chi still. Haven't seen it. I've finished my Masters now, so maybe I will actually go and see a few of these films.
Like ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Anthony for finishing his Masters this week. He's been beavering away behind the scenes, and he's still...
3 years. 3 years.
Yep, and it's all done. It's all over now.
Hopefully I pass.
Yeah. If we don't mention it again, you'll know he failed, and we'll say no more about it. No Time to Die coming out. We're getting into the thick of it. We're into the thick of movie season now. We've got a bunch of movies coming out. I can't wait for June. I probably will go see No Time to Die, I think. I didn't see Spectre. I heard it wasn't very good.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge wrote it. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
She did. Yes, mental. Yeah, she did. Which gives me some hope that it will be good, because Phoebe Waller-Bridge knows how to write a script, and she's very funny as well. So it makes me hopeful that this might be relatively funny. Yeah. Regardless of whether people go and see No Time to Die, one thing that I think is beyond question is that James Bond is never going to die because he makes too much money. And that's just like a certain film series coming up.
Oh, yes.
You guessed it. It's your favourite and mine. Back to the Feature. Amazing. Hello friends, and welcome to the exciting game show segment Back to the Feature, where I've selected a movie from 25 years ago today, actually 26 again, because there was good stuff in 26. Anthony will hear 5 clues and have 5 opportunities to guess the name of the movie. Each clue he hears will lower his score by 1, and please play along at home. Anthony, are you ready for a Halloween-themed Back to the Feature?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna make as much in this month Halloween themed as I possibly can. Like everything's going to be spooky.
Yep.
That's just my. The listeners are going to have to put up with that, unfortunately, because I love
Nightmare Before Christmas, Halloween or Christmas film.
Either.
Yeah. That's what I say. The correct answer is both. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll accept it for either. To be honest, it's a great movie. I'm happy to watch it anytime. Okay, so clue the first. Here we go. This is the 6th installment of a series which began in the 70s, a series which is still running today. Although there is some debate about that. I won't get into it now.
Oh, there is some debate. Oh, there's a debate on my phone there.
Well, it's unquestionable that the series is still running today, but the continuity has potentially been restarted a few times.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't actually know this one off the top of my head. Just telling me from the 70s. Continuity's been restarted a few times. Vegas Vacation.
Is that a real one of those?
Yeah, Vegas Vacation's my favorite one, yeah.
I don't think. Well, as we've well established, I don't know. I'm not kind of clued into the Chevy Chase extended universe. This is not the Vegas Vacation, unfortunately. It's not one of the. There probably are, at least. There's probably quite a lot of those National Lampoon's movies because I think they
there's
kept making them even
five, including the new one. I think there's the Christmas one, Vegas Vacation, Vacation, the first one. There's 1, 2, 3 Christmas. Yeah, I think there's 5 in total. I think.
Was that because I had in my head that was one of those series like American Pie where they actually kept making it between after the main cast left and just made garbage straight to video stuff.
Oh, maybe they did. Maybe, and I don't know about them. Maybe they did. Yeah, but I think the main there's the first one, the Vegas one, the Europe one, and the Christmas one. They're the Chevy Chase ones I know.
Those are the ones I know.
Yeah.
Okay, clue the second. The tagline of this movie was "Terror never rests in peace."
Right. Terror never rests in peace.
I'm gonna say I think you might logic your way to the right series. I'll be very surprised. I'll be very impressed if you get the full name of this movie.
Okay,
I'll be even more impressed if you've seen it.
Right. Okay. So my mind is going to Halloween-y stuff. Technically, it's a new continuity.
Bump and scream in the dead of night. That's
This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween. My first year as a teacher in Northern Ireland, I got my class to do a dance to that at the Halloween show, and
oh wow,
we were the first class to go. And then the rest of the teachers looked at me and went, "I didn't know we were supposed to do a fucking West End show."
That's great. Throwing the gauntlet down with these 9-year-olds.
There was 3 girls in the class who wanted to do it. I just let them do the choreography. It was hilarious. Right. Okay. I'm gonna go for Chucky 4.
Okay. You're into the right genre. It is not one of the Child's Play movies, but it's a good guess. Clue the third. This stars a 20-something heartthrob version. This is a bit redundant. A 20-something heartthrob version of Paul Rudd as Tommy Doyle, one of the only horror movies he has made. Possibly the only horror movie he has made. And I say it's a bit redundant because Paul Rudd looks literally exactly the same now in the year of our Lord 2021 as he did in 1995.
I didn't know that Paul Rudd existed before he was in Friends. So,
did you ever see Clueless? He was great in that.
I have seen Clueless, but I didn't remember he was in that. I haven't seen that in so long. He was in Clueless,
and he was in another thing with Jennifer Aniston, but that might have been after Friends.
Okay. Was it this? This film is the one that he was in with Jennifer Aniston? Yes, it is, I think, based on that. I still don't know what it is. I'm
saying nothing.
Leprechaun 5.
Did you know that's wrong? But did you know that Jennifer Aniston was in one of the Leprechaun movies?
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
There you go. That's an impressive bit of horror knowledge. It isn't a Leprechaun movie, but that's a great pull from the pantheon of horror to know that. Okay, clue the fourth. This is either going to give it to you straight away. There's going to be people listening in the audience who are like, "Bang, got it," or it's not going to help you at all. So we'll see.
All right.
Clue the fourth. This would be the third time that stuntman George P. Wilbur would play The Shape.
No. Another one. This is another hole. I was going to say this is another hole in my film knowledge, but instead of a wall with holes in it, I think my film knowledge is starting to look like a chain link fence. So you can't really see there's holes in it, more that there's this wire across the space.
It's just like it's our different. I get to pick the games, so I get to basically pick stuff that I like, and that means unfortunately it exposes. October's a rough time of year for Anthony because
it's not my go-to
horror's
genre.
Not so much your genre. Yeah.
Yeah. If it was me, it would just be Wee Borders Zoo every week. Okay. Okay. So the shape.
I'll give you a bonus hint for this.
Okay.
The Shape is not the name of the character. It's just what they are credited as.
Right.
That probably doesn't help you too much, but
not at all. Okay, we'll go for Predator. Predator 5. I don't even know if that's. I don't even know if Predator's class as a horror film. I always thought it was.
It's horror adjacent. Yeah. It's not Predator 5. I don't think there have been 5 Predators yet. We're up to Predator 1 and Predator 2. I guess if you count the Alien vs Predators, maybe. Okay, final clue. This is your chance to redeem yourself and to score some points and make this week, this kind of inaugural Halloween week of Back to the Future, not a big wet fart.
It's going to be a wet fart.
Clue the fifth. This movie features Donald Pleasance in not just his final appearance as Dr. Sam Loomis, but his final movie appearance, full stop. Now, I'm trying to think what you would know Donald Pleasance from. You will know him. If you saw a picture of Donald Pleasance, you would want to know.
Yes, I know the name. I do know the name. I can't get the face of Donald Sutherland out of my head, though.
Donald Pleasance is like a bald man. He was a cop in Masters of the Universe, the He-Man movie from the 80s. He was in loads of Australian stuff.
Okay, so mid 90s. Just gonna have a shot in the dark here.
Go on.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. I don't know.
He's fired wildly into the air. He's ditched his genre, and he's fired wildly into the air. And unfortunately, he's missed. It is, of course, Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers.
I've seen the first one.
You have seen the first one, yeah. So I mean, the only way I think you would have got this is if you'd have paid attention in the credits of the first one. You would have noticed that Michael Myers is called The Shape in the credits.
Oh, really?
He's not called Michael Myers. I don't think he's ever in the credits referred to as Michael Myers. It's a weird. I think it's something to do with his mask being a what's his face, William Shatner mask from Star Trek.
That is weird. I actually watched. Is it actually? That's crazy.
It's a William Shatner mask that they just dipped in paint.
The Shape. I watched that film and I knew Michael Myers was the bad guy in it. And when it first started and the little kid was called Michael Myers, I was like, hold on a minute. I didn't know what was going on.
You didn't. Okay, as long as you didn't start going like, "Yeah, baby," and doing that, because that's. No. I've watched that movie with a few people before where they thought it was like very funny that their names were quite similar to each other, and it was like you are ruining this experience for everyone.
It's just a name,
different names. It was a good effort. You got close a couple of times. You brushed up against it with Charles Player would say. I was expecting to hear maybe some Friday the 13th come out of your mouth, but not to worry. Well, you'll have another chance next week to do something that restores your credibility.
Oh yeah.
As I said though, it is here on the Best Movie Podcast Ever. It is all horror, all day, every day. If I have anything to say about it,
every day.
And we're going to go
horror Inc. You know. All right.
I want to see Michael Myers shuffling now, like LMFAO. So we're going from awful Halloween sequels, because The Curse of Michael Myers is not good, to one of the most original horror movies, I'm going to say, of the last 40 years, which is roughly when this came out, and does make me feel very, very old that this came out 40 years ago. And that is with the feature movie that we're here to talk about this evening, and that is Stuart Gordon's Re-Animator. It is a Lovecraftian adaptation. I have read the Lovecraft novella on which it's based. It's very different, to be honest.
Yeah, what era is the Lovecraftian one set in? Out of curiosity.
It would be turn of the 20th century, I believe.
Yeah,
so very very early 20th century. So it's a lot more kind of gothic. Really, there's not really any resemblance beyond the core story, which is that a guy called Herbert West starts bringing people back to life through foul means. But that's where we depart. Now, this is Stuart Gordon directed this, who also directed the movie we looked at last week, which is Space Truckers, which was fun. I enjoyed that as well.
Yep.
Anthony, what did this kind of like meet your expectations for a Stuart Gordon movie based on what you experienced last week, or did anything about this surprise you?
A few things surprised me. I did enjoy it. So basically, it's about Herbert West, who starts bringing people back from the dead. He gets a sort of a studentship at a university hospital, and then
Miskatonic Hospital. They always use like Miskatonic University because that's like Arkham, because that's the parts of the Northeast that Lovecraft, I think he made them up. I don't think they actually exist, but that's always his setting. It's like when Stephen King always sets stuff in Maine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's that sort of thing, and it's shit goes down. We'll talk about more in the spoiler section. In terms of Space Truckers and this, I'm not going to give away what I thought in terms of comparing the two, because I'll do that in the rating section later on. But I did enjoy this. I did enjoy it. There was a couple of moments that made me laugh out loud. I wasn't scared. It's not that sort of horror film. It's more of a pulpy sort of gory mess, which I didn't mind whatsoever. I think things about opening up people's brains sometimes if I'm in a particularly existential mood, make me sort of not want to watch it. But this didn't do that for me. I think it was so pulpy and just not realistic that it didn't really give me that, you know. I genuinely enjoyed it. There was a few surprises in terms of the plot, which we'll talk about later again. The actual main Herbert West, I thought, was really creepy. I thought that guy did a great job.
Jeffrey Combs in this is just the best.
Mm-hmm. Really creepy. I will say as well, Stuart Gordon, 2 for 2. Your thrust of films is largely, and I'm not going to say too much here, but is largely around getting a good-looking young woman in the room with a freak. That's all I'll say for now.
Oh, we will. Yeah, well, that scene requires dissection, I think. We'll come back to that in our spoilers section. But yes, you are absolutely right in that assertion, I think. So, I mean, to talk briefly about the gore then. So, this was a guy called Brian Usner produced this, and he was essentially a guy who rolled around in the kind of mid 80s and early 90s getting money together for low budget horror like this. So this only cost $1 million to make. And he also directed some stuff himself, like famously directed a movie called Society that is horrific, like in terms of body horror. But the gore effects in this are quite ridiculous, and I spent quite a long time. I've seen this movie loads of times. I tend to watch it every Halloween or every October, and they use 24 gallons of fake blood in this movie.
That's a lot.
Which, I mean, you can see where it goes. So the gore effects were done by two guys called Josh Nolan and Nancy Dublin, and it is a lot of it is actually, once you see how they do it, is quite simple. But I love like how schlocky the effects are. So I mean, the one you've just mentioned where the David Gale's character, who's like this kind of like neuro or brain surgeon who is basically like earns the Miskatonic Hospital all its money and is like kind of the darling and teaches all the students how to operate on brains, and he's doing he's not actually doing a lobotomy, but he has kind of he has pioneered this new laser-based lobotomy method that he's showing off in this movie. But he's doing he's basically cutting someone's brain open, and you see him like peeling the hair back from this person's skull and then cracking it open to scoop the brains out, and it's pretty gnarly stuff.
He's just standing holding the brains. He's standing holding the brains and talking to them, and it is pretty gnarly stuff. I think Herbert West in that moment, he's full of something. Like he's full of pep.
Yeah, full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah, piss and vinegar. Yeah, a little bit more vinegar. But he is my favorite thing about this movie. I like without fail. Like Jeffrey Combs as Herbert West is so funny in this movie.
I won't give away any major plot points just yet, but I mean, I want to get your read on this. The moment where Dean, I can't remember his surname now, but kind of the everyman character who takes Herbert West in, gives him a room to rent. He comes home, or he's at home with his partner, played by Barbara Crampton, and they discover their cat is dead in the fridge. And in the fridge in Herbert West's room, and they interrogate Herbert West about it. And like said, "Couldn't you have left a note?" And he just says, "What would the note have said, David? Cat dead, details later."
Yes, that was a great one.
So it just like that's just perfect delivery of that. And he's got a few others as well. The moment later in the movie where we'll get into where he has been, let's say, taken prisoner by someone who becomes the villain of this, and that person is essentially saying that they are going to take credit for all the work that he did on his reanimating agent and basically claim it himself. And he says, "Who would believe a talking head get a job in a sideshow?" Like, at this point, he's talking to a head, a severed head, and like an ambulated corpse. It is so good. I love Jeffrey.
What I love about that as well is the talking head thing. I was a bit slow on that, to be honest with you, and then I realized whenever he said that, I was like, holy god! Right at the start of the film, in the scene where they're sort of getting at the boyfriend girlfriend, on the wall is a talking heads poster. And I was just like, the foreshadowing. I didn't even notice that.
They got it in there. They wanted to get that little gag in there, and they wouldn't be stopped. Like it was always foreshadowed. So yeah, I mean the gore effects in this and Jeffrey Combs are fantastic. Have you seen the original Psycho? There was a question I wanted to ask you about the score in this.
I have seen the original Psycho.
Okay, so Richard Bands did the score for this, and he wanted it to be an homage to Bernard Herrmann's Psycho score, and he actually got in quite a lot of trouble because he essentially just stole the Psycho score.
What, like
did that like stand? Yeah, just like do. It's literally just. It is just the Psycho score with some drums and a bass, or actually, I think it's like a clarinet in the background. But did that stand out to you at all, or did you like give Richard Band a pass for that one?
I must have given him a pass because I didn't actually notice that too much. But now that you say that, it just the whole film is punctuated with basically the score of Psycho. It does, Yeah, I knew it sounded familiar. Maybe I just thought it was a genre thing. But if you're telling me that not many other films do that, then he is literally just stealing his...
He got in some trouble for doing what he did with that score. It's really funny watching the making of documentary and seeing Stuart Gordon and Brian Yuzna talking about this and being like, he tried to make it an homage, but it was way too close to it, and I think they ended up getting sued for infringement upon the copyright.
I'm not surprised. To be honest with you, but to be honest with you, weirdly, it actually worked very very well for it though. Like
Absolutely.
I'm happy for them to get sued, but the actual film itself did well by it.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it strikes that. I'm interested. You've kind of hinted at it already, but the tone that it strikes is, I don't think it's ever really trying to be scary. It's trying to be like schlocky and silly, I think.
Yeah.
But it still has a certain amount of eeriness, I guess, to it. There's one scene in particular which I guess we'll say. At this point that we're probably going to get into spoiler territory.
Okay.
That I wanted to get your take on, and that is the cat in the basement scene. What was your reaction to the cat in the basement scene? Like, what kind of emotion would you say you experienced during that? Because I know a lot of people have felt different things during that scene, running the full gamut.
What, the moment where there's just like with a flashlight walking around going, it's over there, and then like
starting with Herbert West having what is clearly just like a fake cat like stapled to his back as he runs around the room, and then them searching the room, being like, there it is, and just them like having the sound effect of a cat going like, as like Herbert West is just banging things in the room.
Right. Well, first of all, Herbert West changed his tune pretty quick because in came Dean or whatever his name is, and was saying like, what are you doing in here? What are you doing? And Herbert was just like, get out of here, get out of here. And then like within like 10 seconds, he's like, get this thing off of me. So that changed very quickly. It was also telling him to get out of there, and then he very quickly said, like, so he caught the cat. They caught the cat, and then they had it, and then the Herbert West goes, "That's actually why I took the cat, because I wanted to get you on board here." It's like, but you were telling him to get out of the room 5 minutes ago. But yeah, so okay, the moment where they're looking around the room and the cat noises are happening, and there's clearly there's no cat anywhere. They're just pretending that it's places. I thought that was I was laughing at that. I'm gonna be honest.
I think it is funny. I think if you don't find that scene funny, for the duration that it runs, I don't understand how you can't laugh after. I mean, there is a scare in it, so it is dark, and there is a kind of jump scare when the cat initially. It's Dan Kane is the character's name. He's played by Bruce Abbott, like the kind of everyman. And there is a jump scare where you get like a POV shot from Dan Kane's point of view, and then the cat like into the camera, but that's where the horror ends. Horror leaves the room at that point. And then Dan Kane takes the body of this cat and just fucking hurls it against the wall. And it's done in this incredibly funny wide shot. Like there's no dynamism to the shot at all. It's just a person throwing a cat against a wall, and it hits the wall. There's a splat of blood. The cat slides down, and then about 5 seconds later, a goop of something red slides down as well. And it's so funny.
There's a couple of moments which is a great, like, something smacks into a wall and there's blood left behind.
Yeah.
Later on with the body as well, that happens, I think.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I think we'll probably talk about that as well. So, I mean, the plot progresses in this movie to the point where they accidentally kill Barbara Crampton, whose character is called Megan Halsey's dad, who, like, runs the hospital. Yep. And then he's, like, he gets taken out of the picture. He gets...
lobotomized with the laser.
Lobotomized with the laser, yeah. And then David Gale's character, Dr. Carl Hill, basically becomes the villain because he discovers what they're doing, discovers what they can do, and tries to blackmail them. Mm-hmm. Herbert West decapitates him with a spade, which is a great gore effect. That
was good. That was good.
Yeah, like, they have him just blood spraying up as he's hitting with the shovel, and then they cut to like the sort of feet up shot of the body, and you see him push it down and hear like a sound effect, and they just see the head roll into the background, which is great. But he kind of becomes the villain and essentially takes them all to the hospital to have their big final showdown. And yeah, I think the bit you're talking about, if I'm not mistaken, is the bit at the end of the movie where Megan Halsey's dad has like basically taken has gone into a rage, and he's got Carl Hill's head, and he sort of crushes it a bit, and then just in the most like ignominious fashion just fucking throws it out of the room against
the security
wall.
Guard sees it,
Yeah. The security guard just sees it and then runs away, which is such a funny way to kill that character.
Yeah, like that was obviously funny whenever the blood was there. Let's talk about the security guard though, because the security guard was the first bit of danger he sees, he just runs away. And not only that, he was sitting. What was he sitting there reading, like porno, like mags?
Yeah. So I was reading about, because I wanted to double check this. I didn't want to cast aspersions about that character, but every time he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get a coffee," and then he'd walk off with a porno mag, I was like, "Is he going to masturbate?" And then I read some interviews with I think it was Stuart Gordon and the scriptwriter, or the guy who adapted the screenplay, Dennis Paoli, and they confirmed that yes, he is going to masturbate every time he goes to get some coffee. So
what the hell?
He's not a good security guard, I think it's safe to say, and it's unsurprising.
Yeah, well, I don't really understand why. I don't think they would have a security guard like sitting next to the morgue door. Like, it doesn't really make any sense. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Do they have security guards on morgues?
He doesn't do anything except for like be the guy who unlocks the door. They sneak past him with a fake head one time, and he goes off and masturbates all the time. Like, what's the point of him?
Yeah, I think it's to kind of humanize Dan Kane, because he gets some banter with him as he walks in and out. But you're absolutely right in terms of that's a character that in the kind of the lexicon of horror, you kill that character. That character's supposed to die, and it's like, oh no, this person didn't deserve to die, and they did, and that. But I guess that role is kind of taken by Megan Halsey's dad, who's kind of the innocent victim who ends up getting roped into everything. He is like the security guard is a very funny character though as well. Anthony, we've got to talk about it. It's the elephant in the room. We mentioned it earlier. Barbara Crampton, and this is a trend that she would continue in the next Stuart Gordon movie that he made after this, which was called From Beyond. She is. What was your reaction to the scene of her being, let's say, prepped for sexual assault, or actually just full on sexually assaulted by the reanimated corpse of Dr. Carl Hill holding his own severed head?
Right. Okay. So. I mean, obviously, I didn't think well of the guy. Like, I thought, you know,
that's good. You passed the first test.
Up to that point, I was thinking, this guy actually isn't too bad, And then once he started feeling her up, I was like, oh no, bad guy.
Yeah.
This
cancelling.
Yeah. So I think he should have been cancelled. Well, the head getting crushed and thrown against the wall, probably the biggest cancellation.
Yeah, that was very much the cancelling of that era.
Although it did happen post death, so I don't know how they're going to deal with that in the papers. But yeah. So it was very shocking to see that, because I think like back in the day they were much more liberal with nudity in films in terms of it was almost, maybe this speaks poorly of the time as well though. It was almost as if like they always went for actresses who were kind of unknown in films like this, because then they could get them to do this sort of thing. Whereas these days I don't really see this being made in terms of what they were doing. Having said that, like I do think because it was the bad guy, he's very clearly evil. It's not like I was watching it thinking, oh my god, I wasn't cringing or anything like that. It was like, to be honest with you, I was actually thinking to myself, what the hell is this director doing? Like Stuart Gordon, 2 out of 2 movies that I've seen of him has honestly, like the first one in Space Truckers with Charles Dance as this weird like robot guy with chemicals in his body. He was he wanted to be with the woman there, and in this one, it's the same exact thing. Like,
it is very similar actually.
It makes me think like does every film center around the bad guy wanting, and like thirsting after a young, good-looking woman?
Well, I mean, I think it's a very old trend.
A picture into Stuart Gordon's mind, Konrad.
I mean, I think that there's probably something to that. I do think as well, though, that like the damsel in peril at the hands of the villain is a very old-fashioned kind of trope, and this is him taking it to its kind of ridiculous, schlocky extreme. I think. I mean, the thing I will say for him, I think you're absolutely right. There are some movies, particularly in the 80s and to a certain extent the 70s, where you can feel that the director was a bit exploitative of an actress who maybe didn't have her agent on set, or didn't feel fully comfortable with what she was doing, but didn't feel like she could say no. By all accounts, Barbara Crampton was quite happy to do this and was pretty fearless, to be honest. She shoots full frontal nudity and has a severed head perform oral sex on her. And fair play to her for being comfortable enough to do that. And I think
I did read that the actor who was performing that oral sex, I read that the actor's wife walked out of the screening of the film.
She didn't know it was going to happen, and she stormed out of the screening, and they got divorced shortly later.
Oh my god!
I mean, that is come on now. That is the kind of thing. If you do that in a film, you've got to prep your partner that that's coming up. You can't just spring that on them. I don't want to make statements about David Gale's relationship, but that's you've got to give him some warning, surely. By the way, love, just to warn you, you might want to close your eyes around the 79-minute mark in this one.
Yeah, that was, to be honest with you, that one got a cringe out of me. Like when he was like just feeling her up, I was thinking to myself, like, obviously this guy's an absolute bastard. He's dead. He's a zombie. This is a bit over the top, sort of thing. Well, no. Oh, literally over the top, but basically, whenever they took the head, like the hands took the head and moved them down, I honestly was like, what are they doing?
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's the reaction they wanted. They want to be shocking, but I mean, I think it's one of the reasons I like this movie as much as I do is it never feels like mean-spirited. Like, it never feels like it's being shocking just to be like nasty. And it doesn't dwell on the sort of trauma of Barbara Crampton. I mean, to be fair, she's dead. Her character's dead within about 10 minutes of that happening. So it's not a long time for it to happen. But it doesn't feel kind of too mean-spirited, which I think helps to soften the tone or soften the blow of it happening. But yeah, so I mean, there's a big explosion of intestines, I guess.
Oh yeah, that was
Herbert
funny.
West is grabbed by them. It's a very cool practical effect. You will be pleased to know that he does come back for the sequel. So he.
Oh, okay.
They kind of retconned him dying because it seems like he dies at the end of this.
Is he a good guy or a bad guy by the end of this? Is he the bad?
I mean, he's a mad scientist who is very much the. I mean, he's the protagonist in a way because he's the one whose actions kind of cause all of this shit to happen. But at the same time,
although they gave but the actual hero's journey they gave to Dan Kane, because at the end he had learnt his. I honestly thought he was going to bring her back with the resuscitation. I thought like this is his hero's journey. He's not going to give up on this body, and he's actually going to bring her back. But then no, he just takes the glowing liquid out.
Yeah, it gives her the Re-Animator. Well, I mean, not to give anything away, but the sequel to this movie is called Bride of Re-Animator, so you can guess where that's going. But yes, so Dan Kane ends. Having learned that you can't save them all just with CPR alone, and injects the reanimating agent into his very recently deceased girlfriend, who we can presume is the one who emits the ear-piercing scream as we go to credits, and that's the end of the movie.
Can we talk about the way they go to credits?
Go on.
So he's injecting her with the glowing liquid. It pauses. The score rumbles up, and then it goes completely black except for the vial, and then that
the bright green,
and then that
reanimating
agent, and then that like sort of scrolls down and goes away. But the funny thing is, because it was made like in the 80s, and I presume it was made on film.
Yes.
Then the way that they did it, obviously they had to cut around the film or like black out the film. And you can see when they've actually, because it's how good quality, the screens are these days. I can see around the glowing tube of the stuff, just the set behind. Like they didn't actually just have they actually just cut it out, and you can literally just see it's like a little circle, and it doesn't. It just looks so weird. Go and watch it again.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I need to go watch that now. That's fascinating. I love when stuff like that pops up.
Yeah, they didn't want to cut too close, So, but they now these days with the screens we've got, we can see it very clearly that they didn't go close enough to the vial.
Yes, well, I mean, it's a striking ending, no doubt. I think, regardless of that. Anthony, how do you feel about the Re-Animator? Let's talk Turkey here. Like, if we're gonna like talk about movies, we got to talk Turkey.
Yeah.
What are you gonna rate it?
Talk Turkey because we won't be eating at Christmas thanks to Brexit. I'm gonna talk about. So I'm gonna rate it. I confidently went out of a joke there and lost what I was going to say. I'm going to rate it. Now, you're going to laugh at this, okay? And
There's no judgment here. This is a judgment-free zone. If you want to give it 5 stars, you want to give it 1 star. That's
I don't think
it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think you're gonna understand why, like myself, who I am when I watch a movie, why I did this. But Space Truckers last week, I gave a 3 star. I'm giving this a 2 star. It would have been a 5 out of 10. Maybe it should be a 3, but I'm giving it 2. I didn't enjoy it as much as Space Truckers. I'm going to be honest with you. Space Truckers had more campiness to me. This was schlocky, whereas the Space Truckers was campy.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. If the tone of like Space Truckers, I think you're absolutely right. Space Truckers has a lighter tone and is a bit sillier than this, which tries to be a bit darker, and it deals with some heavier stuff. Certainly visually, if not tonally. For me, I mean, I love this movie. I've got this movie down as a 4 out of 5, and I will love it till the day I die. But I can. It's certainly not for everyone. These kind of like gore fests are very much up my alley, so to speak.
I did like it. I just felt that I like Space Truckers better, and I want my rating to reflect that.
Yep. You've got to remain consistent. That's fair enough. Okay, well, I think that's just about gonna do it for us this week on the Best Movie Podcast Ever, which leads us very naturally to answering one question, as we always do, and that is, Anthony, what's your favourite movie?
Unfortunately, Konrad, I invoked the name. It has to be We Bought a Zoo.
It's fair enough. It's come up naturally in conversation, so you're allowed to slot it in there.
Yeah.
Mine is Re-Animator. I'm standing for Re-Animator. I haven't actually decided, or we haven't actually decided what we're gonna look at next week. But please tune back in again to catch whatever that is. It'll probably be spooky. I think we can probably say that it's going to be some kind of horror or horror adjacent thing to honor this time of year when Satan is among us. I don't know what the rules about.
Bette Midler is among us.
Oh, is that a South Park joke?
No, she's the star of Hocus Pocus.
Oh, I haven't seen Hocus Pocus in about 20 years.
Oh my god, that's going to be one of the weeks, guys. That's going to be one of the weeks. We're watching Hocus Pocus.
We'll try and do Hocus Pocus.
Closer to Halloween, though. Has to be closer to Halloween.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that classic horror movie, Hocus Pocus. That's probably not going to be next week. It might be next week. You'll have to tune in to find out. Thank you to Nancy Wyatt and Jared Iscariot for the use of our theme song. You can find links to their stuff down in the description below. And thank you to you for joining us. Please consider subscribing. We are the Culture Cave on YouTube, and we're the best movie podcast ever on podcasting apps. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you're watching this spooky season. Give the show a like. That really does help. And we will see you same time, same place next week.
And cut.